Hi everyone. Welcome to Learning English Through History. Here we don't just study English. We live it. Every week you will hear now simple stories in English, full of useful words and phrases. Don't worry if you don't understand everything at once. Just listen, enjoy the story, and learn step by step. Our goal: to help you speak English with confidence, so grab a cup of tea, sit back, and let's start this adventure together. Subscribe now and join me on the journey of learning English through history. See you in the next video. Enjoy listening.
Two days after the dinner in Rome, Alessia tried to return to her normal life. She walked through the busy streets, visited small shops, and drank coffee in her favorite café near Piazza di Spagna. But nothing felt the same. Everywhere she went, she saw Marco in her mind. His eyes, his voice, the way he said her name. She felt both nervous and curious, afraid and fascinated. Her phone buzzed. A message appeared. Marco, Bacavac. Tonight, we're going to Sicily. Alessia froze. Sicily? A whole trip? She stared at the screen. Alessia, how long? Marco, as long as I want. Her hands trembled. This was not a normal invitation. It was a command. She knew she should say no. She barely knew this man. He was powerful, dangerous. But inside her a voice whispered, "Say yes. Go. See who he really is." Back in her hotel room, Alessia packed slowly. A few dresses, a jacket, her favorite perfume, a book she probably wouldn't read. As she folded her clothes, she looked in the mirror. Her blue eyes seemed different, brighter, almost restless. "What am I doing?" she whispered to herself. "I'm going with a stranger. A man everyone fears. A man who lives like a king." But she didn't stop packing. That evening, a black car waited outside. The same driver, silent and serious, opened the door for her. Instead of the main airport, they drove to a smaller, private terminal. No lines, no crowds. Only silence, security, and luxury. On the runway stood a private jet. White, shining, elegant. The stairs were open, and at the bottom, Marco stood, wearing a dark suit and a silver watch. "Marco, you came." Alessia, half smile, "You didn't really give me a choice." Marco, calmly, "There is always a choice. You chose me." He offered his hand. She hesitated only for a second, then placed her hand in his. The jet was more beautiful than any first-class plane Alessia had ever seen in magazines. Soft leather seats, polished wood tables, small lamps giving warm light. A hostess greeted them, offering champagne, fresh fruit, and small chocolates. Alessia sat by the window. Her heart raced as the engine started. Rome's lights grew smaller and smaller until they disappeared below the clouds. "Alessia, I've never flown like this. It feels unreal." "Marco, get used to it. This is how I travel." Alessia, smiling, "For me, it feels like a movie." Marco, looking at her closely, "For me, it is only Tuesday." She laughed softly, but inside, she felt the distance between their worlds. Marco leaned back, his eyes on her. Marco, Sicily is not just my home. It is my blood, my history, my empire. You will see it, and then you will understand me better. The way he said empire made her shiver. The jet landed on a small private runway surrounded by green hills and palm trees. The air smelled different, warmer, filled with salt from the sea. 3 black SUVs waited. Men in suits stood beside them, serious and watchful. Alessia stepped out, the warm wind touching her hair. Marco walked beside her, calm, powerful, as if the whole island belonged to him. They drove for almost an hour. Through hills covered in olive trees, through small villages where people stopped and stared as the cars passed, through winding roads that led finally to the sea. When the gates opened, Alessia gasped. On the cliff above the ocean stood a villa so big it looked like a palace. White walls, tall balconies, statues of lions at the entrance. Gardens with fountains, palm trees, and flowers in every color. The waves crashed against the rocks below, the sound echoing up to the villa. Inside, the villa was even more impressive. High ceilings painted with angels, golden mirrors, chandeliers bigger than her entire hotel room. Alessia, whispering, "It's like a dream." Marco, calmly, "It's reality. My reality. And for now, it is yours too." Marco showed her to a guest room. It was larger than her whole apartment back home. A balcony opened directly to the sea. The bed was covered in white silk sheets. On the table stood a vase of red roses. Alessia touched the curtains, the furniture, everything. She felt like she was inside a fairy tale. But in the back of her mind, a question remained. Fairy tale or trap? That evening, they dined outside on the terrace. The sky was painted with sunset colors, and the sea reflected pink and orange. The table was filled with Sicilian dishes: grilled fish, olives, pasta with fresh tomatoes, sweet cannoli for dessert. A violinist played softly in the background. Alessia, I don't understand you, Marco. You have all of this money, power, beauty. But what do you really want? Marco, leaning closer, I want you to see me. Not the villa, not the plane, not the guards.
Me.
Alessia, whispering, and if I don't like what I see? Marco, eyes dark, then it will be dangerous. For both of us. Her heart skipped a beat. His words were not a threat, but a promise. After dinner, Marco took her down a long stone path to the private beach. Torches lit the way, and the sound of the ocean grew louder with each step. They walked barefoot on the sand, the moonlight shining on the waves. Marco, when I was young, I came here to think, to escape, to plan. Alessia, plan what? Marco, everything. My future. My empire. My rules. No one gave me this life. I took it. Alessia studied his face. Behind the charm, behind the calm, there was fire, ambition, maybe violence. He turned suddenly, his hand brushing her hair. Marco, do you regret coming here?
Alessia, softly no.
Their eyes met. The world disappeared. For a moment, only the sound of the ocean remained. But suddenly, shouts broke the silence. Flashlights appeared on the cliffs. Men's voices, angry, fast, speaking in Italian. 2 guards ran toward Marco. Guard. Signore, we have a problem. Marco's body changed instantly. From relaxed to sharp, like a blade. Marco, Alessia, go back to the villa.
Now.
Alessia, What is it?
Who are they?
Marco, do not ask. Just go. The guards surrounded Marco. More voices shouted. Alessia's heart pounded. From her balcony, Alessia could see the beach below. Marco stood facing the intruders, tall and calm, but his men were tense. She couldn't hear the words, but she saw the gestures, sharp, aggressive, full of warning. The moonlight reflected on Marco's tattoos as he raised his hand, silencing everyone. He spoke with authority. Slowly, the strangers retreated into the night. The guards closed the gates. The beach was silent again. Minutes later, Marco entered her room. His face was calm, but his eyes were cold, still burning from what had just happened. Alessia. Who were they?
Marco, quietly enemies.
Rivals. People who forget whose island this is. Alessia. Scared, and me? Am I safe here? Marco. Walking closer, his voice low. You are safe as long as you are with me. Never forget that.
He touched her cheek.
Gentle, almost tender. But his words carried a warning. Alessia felt her heart beat fast. She was not only visiting his world anymore. She was inside it, and she didn't know if she would ever get out. Alessia woke up in the softest bed she had ever slept in. The silk sheets felt like water on her skin, and through the open balcony doors came the sound of the sea. For a moment, she forgot where she was. But then she remembered. Sicily.
Marco's villa.
A world far from her normal life. She stepped onto the balcony. The sun painted the ocean gold. Below, she saw guards walking near the gate. Serious, silent, always watching. This was no normal holiday. In the dining hall, a long table was filled with food, fresh bread, fruit, Sicilian cakes, strong coffee. Marco was already there, dressed in a white shirt. He looked calm, but his eyes were sharp, like he had not slept much. Marco. Good morning, Alessia. Alessia. Good morning. The view is unbelievable. Marco. It is my kingdom, and today you will see more of it. He didn't explain, but she didn't ask. After breakfast, Marco showed her the villa. They walked through endless corridors, rooms full of art, libraries with books in Italian and Latin, gardens with fountains and statues. Servants bowed when he passed. Everyone lowered their eyes. No one looked at Marco directly. Alessia noticed it. Alessia, they respect you. Marco, smiling faintly, respect or fear. Sometimes they are the same. Her stomach tightened. That evening, Marco told her they would have dinner with his family. The dining room was larger than any restaurant she knew. At the long table sat men and women of different ages. Some looked elegant, others dangerous. At the head of the table, an older woman sat, her black dress simple but powerful. Her silver hair was tied in a bun, and her dark eyes were sharp. Marco. Alessia, this is my mother. The woman looked at Alessia for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Marco's mother. So, this is the girl my son brings to Sicily. Her voice was soft, but every word felt heavy. Alessia tried to smile. Alessia, it's an honor to meet you. Marco's mother. Still watching her, we will see if it is an honor for you. The table went silent. Marco's hand touched Alessia's gently under the table, as if to calm her. The meal was delicious. Pasta, meat, wine. But Alessia could barely taste it. The family spoke mostly in Italian, fast and serious. Sometimes they laughed, sometimes they argued. But every time Marco spoke, the table listened. He was not just a son or a brother. He was the leader. Alessia felt the eyes of the family on her. Curious, suspicious. When dinner ended, Marco's mother kissed him on both cheeks, then looked at Alessia one more time. Marco's mother. Be careful, ragazza. My son is fire. Beautiful to watch. Dangerous to touch. Her words echoed in Alessia's mind. The next day, Alessia wandered through the villa alone. She met one of the maids, a young woman with dark eyes. Alessia, it's so big here. You must know every corner. Maid, nervously, yes, signora. But we don't go everywhere. Alessia, why not? Maid, looking around, whispering, some doors are not for us. Some doors are only for him. Before Alessia could ask more, the maid quickly walked away. A chill ran through her. That evening, Alessia walked in the garden. One of the guards stood nearby. He was tall, with a scar on his cheek. When Marco was not looking, the guard spoke quietly. Guard, you should leave, signorina. This is not a place for someone like you. Alessia, shocked, what do you mean? Guard, you are kind.
Pure.
He is not. Be careful. Before she could answer, Marco appeared, and the guard fell silent. Later, on the balcony, Alessia finally asked, Alessia, Marco, why is everyone afraid of you? Marco, calmly, because I give them reason to be. Alessia, softly, and should I be afraid too? Marco turned to her, his eyes burning in the moonlight.
Marco, no.
You are different. I don't want you to fear me. I want you to stand beside me. Alessia, beside you or behind you? Marco, smiling faintly, both. Sometimes one, sometimes the other. That is life with me. Alessia felt both drawn and trapped. That night, she couldn't sleep. She walked through the villa, listening to the distant sound of the sea. The corridors were silent, but she felt eyes everywhere. Guards, servants, family, all living in Marco's shadow. She looked at the man sleeping beside her, so calm, so beautiful, so powerful. And she asked herself, am I falling in love or am I falling into danger?
Great job today. You learn new words and expressions through our story. Remember, the more you listen, the more you understand. Don't forget to subscribe to Learning English Through History and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and share it with your friends. Thank you for learning with me. See you in the next story. Bye for now.